everybody, I'm Hayley.
And I'm Kayli.
And we're back with another spooky movie.
Ooh, that's right. Today we're talking about...
No. What's on the Exorcist table today, Kayli?
I feel like that kind of spoiled it.
Is that... Okay. What's on the
Exorcist table
I don't know.
today?
What's on the... I always say what's on the menu for today, but what's on the... what's in the calendar today? Is it a calendar? What's in the witch's brew? What's brewing today?
Today we're talking about The Exorcist Believer. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah. It's about some girls getting possessed. Ooh.
Listen.
And some old faces popping up again.
Why is it always women? Have you ever seen an Exorcist movie where the main character was a man or a child?
A man or a child?
I mean, sorry.
Like a boy?
Child.
Yes.
Which one?
I just watched The Pope's Exorcist, or The Pope's Exorcism.
Okay.
It came out this year, and the little boy was possessed. The Haunting of Connecticut, I'm pretty sure he might be possessed in that one. I watched this other one called Demon.
But I mean, where they're doing the exorcism, like the levitation, because I know I've seen people get like possessed, but in terms of the movie where it's like focused on a person and they have to do an exorcism, has it ever been like a man that's like on the table floating?
I guess I'm not really understanding your question at all.
Like the ritual, like in the movies that you just said, like the Pope's exorcism. I guess I've seen children. Did they perform an exorcism on the child?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever seen a movie where they performed an exorcism, but it was on the adult male?
Well, in The Pope's Exorcism, yeah.
There was a man.
The Pope.
Oh, he gets possessed?
Sorry. Not the Pope. The Pope's exorcist, like he has his main exorcist.
He has his own exorcist?
Apparently. I don't know. That's what the movie's called. But and it's like based off of a true dude, but he gets possessed by the demon. Spoiler alert, my bad. And they do exorcise him like another priest does. But yeah. Cuz
I was thinking, I don't know why I thought that like the whole ritual thing, it always generally seems to be women. So I don't know if there's any running themes there, but I guess we found one. So we'll let it go with that.
But I mean, the other ones I listed off, they're just possessed. I don't know about exorcisms happening, like actual ones, you know, where the Father comes in and
the Father,
the Mother, and the Holy Spirit. Yeah. But yes, that's what we're talking about today. About two girls going out to the woods and trying to contact their dead relative and then end up getting possessed instead.
You know how it goes.
Oh, that sucks.
Every time.
Why? I don't get it.
Because
they're vulnerable? Is that what it is?
Yeah, they're young and innocent and she just wants to talk to her mom.
But I feel like the problem really comes whenever they're like, just let the spirit talk through you. Like, no, why can't we talk to it? Why does it have to come through me? That's the part where I was like, draw the line a little bit.
Rustle some leaves.
Rustle some leaves?
Yeah, like you're out there, rustle some leaves, blow the wind. I don't know, send a signal.
Right.
But don't speak through me.
No,
Thank you.
That. Thank you. That's why you use a Ouija board. But I guess you're kind of getting...
No. Don't touch that.
It's moving around.
I just saw, side note, the biggest Ouija board in the world or something. They like made this giant Ouija board. World's largest Ouija board materializes in Salem.
Not materializes, like it just appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah. They weren't working on this project for a year or anything. It just popped up.
Oh, wow.
So I'll show you the picture. Maybe you can put it in here. But yeah, they have like this giant Ouija board. So like you and your buddies, you can't see from here, but like... all your buddies, you gather around, and I guess your asses just get whipped back and forth. Because you know,
that's a fun game.
Could you imagine like everybody's like joking, like pushing it, and all of a sudden they and then everybody's flying.
Yeah.
And then they let go on accident because like you're not supposed to let go.
And then boom, that's how a tragedy happens.
Yeah, it's
that big ass planchette just goes flying off into the crowd. That thing is huge. Terrifying.
It weighs over 9,000 pounds. So yeah, to use the board, players ask Ouija-zilla questions and then maneuver a 400-pound planchette using a huge pencil to spell out the answers that some believe come from the spirit world. I'm just not sure. Okay, so if you want to go to Salem?
I mean, that's always the goal. It sounds fun to go to Salem.
What state is Salem in?
Massachusetts.
Was that confident?
I think it is. Listen, geography was never my strong suit. You know those people who can like rattle off all of the states and the capitals? Not me.
Let me see. You're correct. So if you want to go head over to Salem, Massachusetts, you can talk to the spirits.
Ouija-zilla.
Ouija-zilla.
Anyways.
back to the main attraction.
What did you think of this movie, Haley? I'm so curious.
I actually did.
And that's the demon.
Does it matter?
I guess not. They said no. Use the Ouija board to communicate instead.
I'm good. Thank you. Pass. Super pass. Okay.
There you go.
I think we're back. Overall, I actually didn't mind this movie. I heard really bad reviews. Like, I feel like I heard a lot of people say that they just did not like this movie. And I watched it and I was like, this is kind of a good movie. I'm sorry. I thought the acting was really well done. And I was intrigued. I was interested. And I feel like it was through the lens of the dad rather than the daughter or both of the daughters or whatever. So I felt like it was more interesting because it was like a little bit of a mystery. Like, they get possessed, but at least for a period of time, they're missing. All you see them do, like, you don't even see them really get possessed. That's not like the point of it. So I think it was just interesting seeing from their point of view and them trying to figure out what's going on and then everything. So I liked it. What about you?
I did too.
Of fucking course.
I know. I was hoping you would say no, but I was kind of nervous that you would say no because I was like, then I don't know what to really say. I don't feel that strongly about it, but I thought it was fun. I told y'all this last time, but I'm trying to watch something spooky every day this month.
Every day.
And so I have watched a few possession movies already this month. The Pope's Exorcism, Demon being one as well. Okay. And they were not that great for me. I didn't have a good time. And so I feel like, in general, honestly, these past few days have not been great with movies. So when I watched this one, I was actually pleasantly surprised. I was like, wow, a fun movie. I mean, as far as possessions go, it's sad. I mean, yes, a girl passes away. Spoiler. You didn't know which one. There's two of them.
That's true.
It's a 50-50 shot. But yeah, I actually did have a good time with this one. And I was kind of surprised with not actually. Let me take that back. I feel like anytime you try to talk about The Exorcist and its greatness as a film, and if anybody tries to make a sequel or anything about it, people are already coming into it jaded. You know what I mean? They're going to be like, this isn't going to be as good as the original one, so why are we making another one? But there's actually there's 4 other Exorcist movies after The Exorcist, and nobody really even talks about them.
Yes.
So
4. Have you seen all 4?
No.
Have you seen any of the other ones?
I have not.
I haven't either, because I couldn't even tell you what those are about. So I'm so sorry.
No. Okay. I just know that Linda Blair, the girl who plays Reagan, is only in the second one. She's not in the rest of them.
She's tired. She's going to go somewhere else.
She's tired of being possessed and thrown around.
Too much. No.
Yeah.
I will say the only thing for me that was kind of I think there was a little cheesy when they brought back the mom from the original film.
I liked it.
You like the cheese? Mm-hmm. I liked it, but then I was like, okay, a little cheesy. And then after everything, I mean, I know she said she didn't see the exorcism, but after all her studies, she just went upstairs to try to cast it out herself. Of course that didn't work. Like, in my mind, I'm like, why was she doing this? And
I don't know who let her go off by herself, bro.
She went up by herself. Why they went in the house, I'm so sorry.
I don't know either.
The minute I get to the house and
the door's cracked open?
The door's cracked open.
911.
The family's cowering and the daughter's running amok. I'm calling the police. They went
not
around to try to fix the situation on their own, which did not work. Clearly, because the daughter was upstairs. And then, of course, that's when the older lady gets her eyes stabbed out.
God bless. That was something I was not expecting.
Yeah, I was like, that was horrific.
Because I feel like they were setting it up because if you've watched the original, I haven't watched it that many times. I like The Exorcist. I think it's a great movie, but I am not like a hardcore fan. Even though my shirt says, let's call The Exorcist, I'm kind of a poser. Oops, sorry.
She's not going to call.
But in the original one, Reagan takes a cross and stabs herself in her no square area. And so whenever the little girl grabs a cross, that's what I was tensed up for. And then boom, it goes into her eye. I was shook. I was taken off guard. So I liked that. It wasn't exactly the same. It had some nods in there. And I was reading from the director that's kind of like what he wanted to do. But also I saw the director's name and I was like, that sounds familiar. It's because he also directed the Halloween trilogy. And so, surprise, surprise, they're making a fucking Exorcist trilogy too.
Oh, after this one?
But yeah, so he's making a trilogy. It has been confirmed.
Okay.
The next one comes out in 2025. It's called Exorcist Deceiver.
Believer, Deceiver,
and then
Golden Retriever.
Oh, Golden
Never
Retriever.
Never seen an animal. Well,
imagine. That's the whole movie. It's like Air Bud.
but not.
Instead, he's just possessed. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about 2 more movies after this. The Halloween trilogy also wasn't all that
We
great.
didn't need all that. Mm-mm.
No. I think the first one was good. And this is how I feel about this one too. So if he follows his track record, the next 2 probably will not be great.
But what are they going to do?
That's what I don't understand either. I don't know what they're going to follow after this. If they're going to follow the same people or...
Yeah, or if it's going to be the lady, the neighbor lady. Don't know her name.
Oh, the nurse?
Yeah, the nurse. If she's going to keep coming back and redeem herself. Because I feel like she went in there like, I know the Lord's purpose for me. And then like, and everyone failed.
Awful, bro.
Everyone failed. But I will say, on another note, I know there was critique for her past choices, and they were saying that the movie was making it seem bad, and they were like, not the propaganda. So I don't know how I feel about that necessarily, only because I think that anytime there's like possession, they're going to
drag up your...
They're going to try to make you feel guilty. So
yeah.
either if it was that or if it was something else, like even trying to make the dad feel guilty about wanting to keep the mom. But people were also saying like that's the propaganda too. Yeah. Like you didn't want to keep the baby. So I don't know if that was like the actual what they're trying to push, or if it's just, I mean, demons are evil.
It's just skeletons.
So no matter what you did at whatever time, they're going to make you feel bad for it. But it was kind of a theme. Like I didn't want to keep your baby. Yeah. So I don't know about that one, unless I know babies are more symbolic, kind of like when you're doing like possession, like babies and animals. And I feel like there's like certain things that can be symbolic when these things happen. So I don't know if that's kind of what they're doing, but I don't think they were like heavily Christian, because they brought in the woman who was doing ancestral. I don't know what particular belief it was. I didn't really catch that, but they kind of referenced that. They referenced in the beginning the Haiti kind of.
Oh, what she call it? I was gonna say curse, but it's definitely
no,
not
it was a protection,
yeah,
kind of ritual or things like that. So I feel like, and then when they all brought them together, they're like, it's really about being together.
Yeah.
You know, whatever route you're gonna go. So I didn't know if they're really being like super pro Christian or anything like that. Yeah, which would make me think that they weren't trying to really hone in on the baby's issue. But actually, then again, I don't know. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I think it is interesting because let me gather my thoughts. I don't know. I wasn't expecting you to turn it on me.
She's like, I'm just a girl. I mean, you don't have to have many thoughts. That's what I thought about it. That's why I couldn't tell.
I feel like there was some moments where the characters were like heavily Christian. Like there was like, you know, oh, Jesus was down there in hell for 3 days. But I mean, like, I think this is what it's about though. It's about being possessed and devils and demons and angels. So it's like, we have to kind of talk about it, but I didn't feel like it was like pushing it in a particular way, like either that was bad or not.
Any more than any other one.
Right, exactly. I think it was cool though that we were able to have multiple different people come in and try to help exorcise these girls. But I mean, I guess it didn't help either way. They kind of...
Well, that one lady was onto something.
That's what I thought. She was doing pretty good.
And then everything just kind of went south. She said, this is only the beginning. I said, she's onto something.
She's got it. Because they were over here expelling things. I was like, great, we're doing great. And then the father comes in. He said, no worries, guys. I was like, man, finally. The father came in, boom, snapped his neck. I was like, oh.
And what made me mad... Oh, you meant that father. I thought you meant the other father.
Oh, not that
at the end. Okay, no, you mean the Pope, the father. That's why
he wasn't the Pope, but yeah.
Or no, but there's only one of those. Sorry, the Pope Junior. I don't know. What do you call them?
I don't know.
The fathers.
The fathers.
There's a name.
Padres.
The priest.
Yeah.
There we go. The Catholic priest.
Yes.
He really came in. That's why I was trying to figure out what angle this movie was going for. Because they're saying, you know, you stand up for yourself. You get together. I'm like, look, they're getting the band together. And then literally not even 5 minutes into the priest coming in and deciding that he's going to risk his life, he gets murked. Like, I was like...
Immediately.
So I'm like, okay, so I guess having heart and belief just doesn't work here.
Yeah.
Unless they're hinting because the father of Catherine wasn't all the way in it. Maybe he was ruining it, but I don't know. Like, usually they try to say win or good wins or love wins or this wins, but they didn't win at all.
They absolutely lost.
Yeah, they lost. Like, at the end, they're trying to make it happy-ish. Like, oh, you go through grief and struggles. I'm like,
no, someone lost their whole kid.
Yeah, they lost their kid, and also y'all lost. Like, all this stuff you're talking about moving on. How you gonna move on from that? Like, what? y'all lost.
Yeah.
They tricked y'all.
And that's
why I was confused.
I guess, yeah. That maybe that's what they're going to explore in the next few movies.
That's what I'm thinking, because it just didn't seem like it ended on a note. They were trying to make it too fluffy, and I'm like, no, but y'all didn't succeed in the exorcism. The only reason why it's over is because the little demons decided that they wanted it to be over. Like, they wanted to play a little game.
Well, it's because the dad made the choice. He said, "I choose you, Catherine." Which I wonder how it would have gone if they never made a choice, because it seemed like the other parents were like, we're not going to say whose kid, blah, 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 blah. But I don't know why you would think that saying one thing to a demon is going to grant your wish.
Yeah, or you think they're going to keep their word?
Yeah.
Like all the way.
I mean, we've heard like these stories from genies where it's like, you need to be very specific about your wish or they're going to fuck you over. But I think it's also like a nod to the beginning where they said that, well, at the end, they're like, God tricked you, you know, you said you wanted your wife, but you got your kid. And so they kind of tricked them by being like, oh, you want to save this one? Well, we're not going to save her.
Switch.
We're going to, yeah. But also, like, is it that, or was it because Angela was protected from her
That's what I thought as
birth? Well. Yeah. So, but also, like, I don't know how those, like, spells or rituals kind of work, because to be fair, she was kind of protected in the very beginning when she was unborn, and then like it was between her and her mom, and she ended up living. Yeah, she was protected then. Does it last for a lifetime?
I don't know, because she did get possessed.
That's what I was thinking too, because I'm like, if she was protected, I feel like she wouldn't be possessed.
Yeah, because I feel like the only reason why she didn't die is because they tricked him.
Right.
Had somebody else not blurted out her name, would Catherine still be there?
Right.
So I don't know, but I thought that was wild. And is Catherine burning in hell?
That's what it seems like. They drug her ass
down to what I believe to be hell.
Because she was just trying to help.
She did not even try to do any of that. I'm like,
she was just trying to help her friend connect with her mom, bro.
Is her soul lost forever?
For what? For
like,
what?
That's why I felt bad. Like at the end, I felt like they were really trying to be like,
they're like,
all you
we
need
made
is
it through.
I'm like,
Catherine's
burning right now.
Yeah,
they drug her ass down, like her soul, and I was like,
yep.
So
we choose
so they lost.
you, Catherine.
I was like,
yeah. Poor girl.
They really went in the woods. But I need a backstory on that, because who told y'all to go into the woods and to do that?
Yeah.
To even talk to me.
Yep.
Stop talking.
We're getting these messages.
Stop trying to contact people. You don't know who you're reaching out to.
No.
I'm sorry.
I thought we've already learned this lesson.
We thought we did. Those girls just were trying. I guess, I don't know. I am interested to see what's in that, like, underneath catacomb thing.
Yeah,
because clearly it looks like it's a spot, like there's a cave, you go in there and it looks like it's deeper. So I wonder if it's really, maybe the next movies they're going to uncover like what that is, like what was buried. It just happens to be next to a school.
Yeah, it's a little odd.
But that is crazy, because they really did go missing
for 3 days, and they didn't think they were gone that long. I liked the setup of this movie. It felt more like a true crime than like your average possession movie. Yeah. But even with the trailer, like the beginning of it seemed, I didn't know it was The Exorcist at first. It was like these girls go missing and then they come back, and it's like, oh, what's going on? So I liked the take that they went on this journey, where it didn't seem like a possession movie at first. If you just came into the movie and didn't know what The Exorcist was, you probably would have been a little surprised. But
yes, I felt like I was on the journey with them, and I thought the acting was so well, and it was like, and I love how they kept taking them to the hospital, because I feel like in other movies they never make it to the hospital, or they never contact any local authorities or anything. And I felt like in this one they were actually confused as to what was going on, so they took them to the hospital. And maybe they do that in other movies too, I'm sure, but I guess this felt more realistic. And I just thought, like, the way they did the dialogue, like with the lines and everything, even the not background characters, but the like doctors and nurses, you could hear them and they were having conversation, but it wasn't like, I feel like sometimes the movies will be right on every character, and every character has a line that they have to say, and sometimes it comes off a little corny, you know what I mean? But in this one, it was like things were just happening. I felt like the conversation was really good. Like even in the hospital, I could hear dialogue going on, but it just felt so natural, because it wasn't like they were forcing the camera to look at anybody. It just was like you were there. Like the nurses, they're like, get her in. They're like freaking out, and they're like trying to, comfort the dad. So I don't know, something about the way that they did it, I felt like it really was a hospital. Like this girl clearly is under some kind of duress. They don't know, but they're gonna give her the syringe, and they're trying to tell him we probably need to take him to the mental institution and blah blah hootity hoot. So I thought that was really well done, like just the acting in general and the flow. I didn't feel like I was watching people act, which sometimes I feel like I am.
Yeah, I could see that. It did feel good.
I think that's what made did it feel great?
It felt great.
Yes. I think that's what made the movie too, because I felt like it was very natural, and like you said, it was almost like true crime, a little bit of a mystery, and then they kind of brought in a little nostalgia with stuff. So I thought they did really well, honestly. Like I don't know why people wouldn't have necessarily liked the movie,
It was
like saying it was a bad movie to me is crazy.
Well, people were saying that it was boring. I think people were also upset about it being like another David Gordon Green film and them talking about the trilogy. Like these are like the comments that I was reading.
Okay.
But I don't know. The only criticism I saw that was that it was boring. That's what people were saying.
Okay.
Which, I don't know. I felt fully immersed in this film for whatever reason. Like, I don't know if I was just set up because I've been watching movies that I wasn't really vibing with. And then this one, I was like, oh, like, I'm actually in suspense. Like, what's going to happen? I don't know. So, I don't know. I just felt like maybe we're just too open-minded. Because I feel like some people probably do come into these films feeling some type of way because it is the Exorcist that they're coming off of, and people are going to find, like, also the mom, she hasn't been in the sequel either this whole time until now. And then like David Gordon Green, the director, was talking about how he was like very, very persistent and being like, can you please come in? Can you please, just for her to get her fucking eyes taken
crazy.
out.
And Reagan came back too.
Reagan did come back, which was, I thought, not me tearing up at the end when she's like, it's me, Mom. I was like, oh.
Why'd she come back though? I guess her mom's struggling in the hospital a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, she's like 90 something, got her eyes fucking bludgeoned out. I feel like
maybe I'll come say hi.
Maybe you can like start to repair the bridge just a little bit.
10-minute visit.
Yeah. But I was expecting Reagan to come in like a little bit in the movie, but she didn't come in at all until the very end.
Just the end.
And I wonder if she's going to make her appearance known in the next ones, because that's what that one girl, I think it was Angela, she was writing down Reagan's name, and they were talking about Reagan a lot. So I don't know if that's going to come up again.
I feel like they're going to, try to sum it up and try to do like the ultimate defeat or something, because it just seemed like they were tying her in. And that's why, like you said, they'll probably have the next sequels to explain stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm like, are we going to forget about Catherine? I don't know. I don't know why that just sat with me. I'm like.
It was kind of like, I don't know. So they were talking about it too, how they filmed. I think they've been working on this movie for quite a bit. And the original ending, I think, was with them both surviving. And then just the way that it went down, they decided to kill one of them off. But to me, it just felt very like
hopeless.
Yeah, that one of the kids was fucking dead and probably in hell with these demons, and she didn't even do anything. I mean, neither one of these kids did anything, but to me, what the story was that Catherine was there to support her friend.
She wasn't even trying to contact anybody. No. At least, I don't know what really went down, but yeah, from what they make it seem.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. But what would have been interesting is if they did like an end cut scene where they just have her like screaming or something. I don't know if they're going to bring her back in, but if they were, I feel like it's kind of a reminder, like it's not over, you know. But I don't know how they bring her back, because it seemed like her body or her physical body is gone, pretty much done for, unless she comes, they're able to release her spirit somehow, you know. Sometimes when you let them pass along, I do not know, but I was shook, because I'm like, not that I didn't like the ending, like it obviously was way more morbid and dark than most of them, but it was very interesting because, like I said earlier, I guess I was just confused on how they were trying to make it such a positive spin at the end. And I'm like, that was not positive at all. Yeah. Y'all just got lucky that they decided to make some kind of a deal and they left.
Right. That not one that it ended
well.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, not that it ended well, but they sitting here like, oh, we must move on. I'm like,
just like the story of Job, we persevere. I'm like,
until it comes back. I'm not gonna lie. If my child like got possessed or somebody I know, you're not living with me. I'm sorry. Get out.
Honestly, that's how I feel too. No. Because how do you even move on from that? There's like all these possession movies where they end up surviving the possession and they're, like, fine. I don't understand how y'all move on as a family. No. Because there are so many lines that were crossed. There's so many things that were said. There's so many things done. That it's like, I don't know how you're supposed to move on. Because I'm pretty sure the dad got concussed like multiple times by his daughter. Like, also, he was getting his ass beat.
Her fingers were rotting off. I'm like, do they just grow back?
That was awful.
It was terrible. I'm like, oh my God. I'm surprised they didn't bring like CPS into it or anything like that.
Right. Because at first I thought they were interesting.
I thought they were going to start like questioning them and like, what are you doing to, what's happened? I mean, I know the girls went missing, so but I remember when he brought her in and like she was like tore up. I was surprised nobody like raised any of those kind of questions. Yeah. I don't know how you just go about like extensive therapy, because where were they at when they were being held? Like, clearly that's trauma. I'd be so scared.
I did like what you were saying earlier about them taking them to the hospital, and I wonder if that has to do with like the atheist perspective the dad was kind of bringing in, because he didn't really have like a strong faith in anything. And so I wonder like With the other family, they didn't seem to bring her in. They went to church and then they stayed home.
That is insanity, because even if you are religious, if your child just went through a traumatic disappearance, please do not then take them anywhere the next day.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's church. I don't care if it's to Target. Don't take them anywhere. They're like, oh, get up bright and early tomorrow morning.
Right.
I'm like, therapy?
Yeah.
But I guess, never that. And she was hooting and hollering. It wasn't funny. But I was like, not her walking down. I thought she was going to like throw up or something.
Yeah. Convulse
I thought something was going to happen.
Yeah.
Which I will say, I was surprised that it wasn't more extra with some of those stuff. Like, the original Exorcist, like the things that girl was saying and doing, like you said, with the cross and like the stuff of that one. What was very disturbing is like this girl, I can't remember how old she was at the time of the filming, but it was just very, very wild, outlandish shit this girl was saying and doing, right? Which made it even more intense for the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I thought this movie they'd kind of bring some of that intensity in, but I thought they didn't, like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was pretty subdued. I feel like, I mean, we did focus on it, but a lot of it was more about the parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I feel like we didn't really spend a lot of time with them as being like possessed girlies. They were either like passed out or not there. So, and like we talked more about like what's going on. Maybe that's what people are talking about. It's a little bit boring, but honestly, from my recollection, please don't hate me, but I feel like The Exorcist had some slow parts as well.
I think so. The dialogue and
I feel like there was like a lot of moments in there that were slower, and I don't know. I feel like if The Exorcist, the original movie, came out today, I don't think people would be fucking with it like the way they do now.
You think so?
I don't think so. I feel like a lot of people put it up on a pedestal now, and so people are kind of forced to say that it's a really, really good movie. But I feel like people's attention spans have gone down so much.
Oh, yeah.
Who's going to sit for a 2-hour-long possession film about that girl? I mean, it's a good movie, but I feel like nowadays, I don't know if it would have played as well as it did back then. Like it scared a whole entire generation. It changed the Ouija board experience for folks. So it's like that movie was a phenomenon, and you can't capture it again, which is why I feel like having a sequel is really hard to do. But for them to be like, oh, this one's boring, I'm like, but why? Because we're gonna not talk about how the first one is a little slow and boring too.
I see what you're saying.
I don't know. It's a little frustrating. I feel like people don't give movies a chance, but I shit on movies all the time.
I said, girl, we don't give.
But I feel like I go into most movies with high expectations, or not high expectations, high hopes. I feel like I go into it like expecting to have a good time. I don't go into a movie expecting to shit on it and hate it.
Hopefully not.
For the most part. I don't know. I just like the take of this film. I feel like it was a different spin on a possession movie a little bit, especially with like it not just being relegated to the church. It was open up to all paths and religions, and like people trying their best and coming up as a community trying to help these girls. But yeah, I feel like it wasn't the main focus was the girlies. It was more like the parents trying to figure out what's going on and how to take care of them.
Yeah, I thought, that makes sense. A little bit of a different perspective. But I do hope with the next ones, they really wrap it up, and they wrap it up well. Because I feel like in the original Exorcist, the reason why everything is not fixed, but the girl is saved essentially is because the guy performing the exorcism sacrifices himself, right? So my thing with sequels is when you have something where in a movie ended one way and there was a character sacrifice, or there was like development where the ending was a result of like characters making choices and that kind of stuff, and then when they make sequels, sometimes they kind of just like erase all that. So my thing is, I hope they do. Yes, I'm like, there was progress made, and sometimes I feel like they erase the progress because they just want to continue stuff on. Yeah. So as long as they do it nicely and make sense of what they're doing, I mean, obviously these are spirits, so it's not like haha, this person's alive, but it is kind of like, well, did that sacrifice the man made mean nothing, or like what if they keep terrorizing Reagan? They better really make it make sense. I don't remember how she got possessed in the first place. Do you remember?
Reagan? Yeah. In the original one?
Yeah.
She was playing with the Ouija board.
Okay.
But yeah, she was like a lonely kid playing with the Ouija board, which is kind of like with this one. She was lonely, wanting to reach out to her mom.
And all that stuff. Very interesting.
The thing I'm like very concerned about is the rest of these movies that are supposed to be coming out. I don't really understand where we're supposed to be going, because I feel like the door was kind of shut with this one. So it's like, what are we going to talk about now? Are we going to be talking about the same family?
Other kids are just going to do another thing. That's I'm like, are we just going to kind of keep doing the same thing over and over again until we hit the Pope, maybe? All the way to the top. Yes. Even though they weren't any help. They were like
They said, talk to the mental institution because it's not going to be us.
Well, it's so funny because they have everything set up to where they're supposed to, approve an exorcism and stuff, but they just, they don't do that. They're like, yeah, we'll look at it. Oh, mental institution. They say, that's dangerous. I'm like, what are y'all for? But I guess maybe they've seen a few things and they say, maybe they don't win.
Yeah, and I think like in other movies they've kind of explored it. Like there was, I think it's like the exorcism of Emily Rose was like a trial, and like they were trying to exorcise a possessed girl and she ended up dying, and so now they're trying to figure out who is held responsible. So I think that's what's kind of going on now with like the church and like exorcisms. Like I think that's why they're probably a little bit more choosy, and why they're like, hey, we might as well just say it's a mental thing because we don't want to take the responsibility.
Be a representative of the Lord, are you not supposed to? Don't you have a higher calling?
Yeah.
Now, you know what I mean? You can't just be a priest and decide that you want to do things because they're scary. Like, don't you believe in what you believe in? Right?
Yeah.
And if you don't and you're too scared to do stuff,
yeah,
I get it. But I'm not a priest. I don't think I could be a priest.
That was not my calling.
That's not my, thank you. So I'm like, if you're going to have a religion, you believe in it, and this is your position that you chose because God told you to be there. I'm like, how are you going to say, oh, no, it's too dangerous? Okay, then you risk jail time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that is your job, or at least I'm not sure if it says in the text that is their job, but you know what I mean? That's what they said their job is.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Jail time. I mean, nobody really wants to go to jail, but I feel like in other movies and shows, like priests are like, I'm willing to go to jail for a confession that I can't, communicate.
Yeah.
But I guess some people with the Exorcist, they say, we're drawing the line here.
That's too much. I mean, I don't blame them. But
I wonder how many people are still like doing that. They're like actually performing exorcists.
I don't know. I know that it's not uncommon. I mean, it's not like super common, but I do know that they do have actual rituals and stuff ready for that.
Yeah,
they do.
Which, I mean, it makes sense though. Like, it is weird when you think about it, but like, if you truly believe that there's demons and evil in the world, then like, why wouldn't you have a way to get rid of them? Why wouldn't you have like a holy team?
There has to be, if black then white, if yin then yang, if good and evil. Like, you have to have
an opposing force,
right? Because there's no evil if there's no good. There's no good if there's no evil, right?
Yeah.
So they have to balance. So that's what I'm thinking. But since we're on Earth, I don't know if the realm is different. Because there's like, I guess, the spiritual part, and then you have the earthly part. So I don't know how it all fits in.
I feel like it's also very interesting. I'm kind of glad that with this demon possession, it seemed to not work, because I feel like with other possession movies, it seems a little too easy to defeat the demon. I'm like, but isn't this like a demon? Like, I don't know.
They've been around for quite some time.
Right. And the only thing that's going to really scare them off is like you saying their name, and then you're like, get out. And you're like, oh, okay. I guess I gotta
just
go.
do it enough. Yeah,
that's
I'm
the
like,
part where I'm like, you would think it's a little bit more. I mean, I guess with the first Exorcist, like the priest literally jumps out the window to save everybody, so it wasn't that easy.
Yeah,
and even with this one, they lost a child.
I would be interested to see the actual like ritual, because I see that all the time. I'm like, is that like actual factual? I kind of don't want to know.
Yeah, me neither.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why I shrugged.
I was like, actually, I'm not that interested. No, actually, no, I'm okay.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm superstitious, but I don't like even saying like the demons' names or whatever. I'm not about that.
Listen.
Because like the article I read about the director, like he talked about the demon and how he was like, yeah, I think it's a friend of like the original demon from...
A friend?
Right, that's why.
Not the spiritual
the
friend.
way he was talking about it was so casual. It was too casual for me. I was like, listen, I grew up in the era of those chain mails where if you don't do this and this and you're gonna die. So that's why I feel like I'm paranoid, where I'm like, I don't want to say demons' names just in case.
Just, you know what? Just not even mess with it. But didn't the original movie, a bunch of weird shit happen like afterwards? So I'm surprised
during filming too.
Yes, that's why I'm surprised that the original mom came back. I mean, I don't know how terrorized she was, but I'm like, if I made a movie and all this stuff went down and people were dying, like, I am going to probably not come back to the next one. So I don't know if anything weird happened on this set, but
I don't know. I didn't see anything. I feel like that would have been good publicity if it did.
Just started saying some stuff went down.
Yeah.
Or even just being the actors and the actresses. Like, I mean, they did a phenomenal job. They were doing the creepy smiles. Whoever did the special effects, they look awful in the best way possible.
Congrats.
Yes. But could you imagine like pretending to be possessed all day? Like, how do you just go home? You know?
And then it probably leaks out a little bit. You're over here eating there.
You know what I mean? Like, do you need to low-key have like holy water on the side in case you just act a little too much?
I don't know. There's like, Listen, I don't know. TikTok, I don't know. Even just stories in general, you hear things or whatever. But there's like this story I keep hearing pop up about one of the girls who played in Coven, American Horror Story Coven, where they were saying like some kind of spell to have a demon or a ghost or something come in. And like that girl who said that spell, like she said weird things started to happen afterwards. No. So that's where it's like, I don't know where the line is, how much is true and how much isn't it. Or how much is true and how much isn't true. But it's like, I don't know, just in case. I like to be safe. If you're telling me, hey, this is a role for you, you're going to have to say the spell, I'm going to need a stunt double.
No.
Because I'm not doing it.
No.
I'm sorry.
I'm not acting in a horror movie where I got to mess with things I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah. There's certain things, I'm like, I don't know. Like, what about you ever getting your fortune told or like a psychic? Would you be interested in
I've gotten my tarot cards read. I don't know if that's...
Is that...
on the same level?
Is that like a spiritual... Because I know some people say tarot cards isn't what people think, right? So is it the spirits trying to pull the card? Or what's pulling the card, I guess? Your essence? Is it your energy that's supposed to drive the car? You know, I'm like, what is it? You know,
I think people have some different beliefs behind it. Some of them like believe that they're talking to like spirit guides or angels or whatever. But sometimes it's just like whatever you're pulled to. So
okay, because that's why I was like, I wasn't sure about that in particular. Yeah. But sometimes I'm like I don't know who you're getting this information from.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they think they're getting the information from somebody bad, but it's always that thing. I'm like, who are you talking to?
I don't know. Who's telling you this?
Who's letting you know? Because, I mean, these are movies. But as we've seen, sometimes they act one way and then it's really not. Or they pretend to be
which happens
the dead mom. I thought they were going to go more with that, like the dead mom. But
I was kind of, I thought so too.
That was going to be kind of like Talk to Me, where she's kind of talking to her mom a little bit. And then it happens. But I think she saw like a version of her mom once when it was behind her dad's head. Do you remember that? Like he was like reaching down. It looked like it was supposed to be her mom.
Oh, I forgot about that part.
So I thought they were going to bring that back up, but they didn't. So that's why I just feel like I couldn't tell. Even with the protection thing, I thought they were going to go back to some of the Haiti roots a little bit there. And then they didn't. So I think, I don't know.
What do you give this movie, Hayley? Or did you have anything else you wanted to chat about the Exorcist Believer?
Why is it called Believer? Because the dad was an atheist?
I don't know. I wonder if we're going to get more hints to why the next one's called Deceiver. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see.
Well, I think I give it a 2. Well, it's a horror film.
Yeah. Correct.
Horror film rating.
Oh, there's a different rating than just the regular one.
There's a different one. I think if I give it a horror film rating, I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
Oh.
Regular rating? 2.5, 3.
So what's the horror rating? Like, what's on your criteria for that?
My criteria, because horror is very difficult to do. So I feel like if it's a good horror film, and I don't even know why. I mean, I think some stuff it's like good, but because I don't know, I feel like sometimes people rate it based on if it was scary or not.
Yeah, and scary
so
is
I
subjective.
Don't know. Maybe I won't do that. Maybe I'll give it a 3. I give it a 3 out of 5 regular movie. I think as a horror film, it was up there. But I feel like a lot of horror films just aren't that good.
Very true. Unfortunately.
So I don't know. What about you?
I give this... I'm like stuck between a 2.5 and a 3. Like I think it was a fun time. It was a good movie to get out of my rut that I was currently in. And I have hope again for a horror movie to be decent. I don't think I probably will see the next 2 in theaters because I feel like making 2 more is probably not necessary. But
yeah,
I'm interested to see where it's going to go. From the comfort of my own home.
Yeah, I need to see the trailer, how it's going. Because if it's going to be the same thing again, where it's like 2 young people doing, you know what I mean? They got to spice it up a little bit, you know?
But yeah, that's the part I'm kind of confused on. I don't know what's going to happen.
Bloop. We will see.
Bloop, 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 bloop. Well, if you like things that are horrifying, but slightly exciting.
Slightly good.
Slightly okay for a horror movie. Then you'll love our Instagram at Hayley and Kayli. We also have a website at Press Podcast. And we have... what else
we got? We got a YouTube channel. If you're watching us, you can clearly see we have a YouTube channel at Hayley and Kayli. We also have an email at presspodcast@gmail.com where you can tell us movies that you think we should review or just let us know any comments, questions, or concerns.
Let us know down in the comments what you thought of this one. Are you excited for David Gordon Green's next installment of the Exorcist trilogy? Until next time,
stay spooky. Hi, everybody. I'm Hayley.
And I'm Kayli.
And today, we're
getting possessed. That take you off guard a little bit?
I didn't know what to say.